Konnichiwa mina, boku wa Jeremy desu. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Today is day 306. It is Sunday, November the 2nd, 2014, and I'm still dressed for summer, but in truth, it's a little bit chilly outside, and I don't like it. I don't like the cold. It sucks, bothers me, but when I'm inside I can dress like this and be somewhat okay with it, I guess. Anyway, do you ever get nostalgic for things? If it's one word that people could probably say about me, my friends and stuff would say, he gets nostalgic about things a lot of time. Well, that and I never shut up. And I am imaginative, sometimes to a fault. And I live in a fantasy world. But that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, at least in my mind. So, whatever. But I found myself today on YouTube again, as I often do, and I think lots of you do too, just go on YouTube and look up stuff. But I go back to stuff from my childhood. And it's funny, because on Sundays, usually when I work a night shift, such as I do tonight, my nephew Cody and I go to McDonald's. And it's just a nightly thing, because I'm done work at 10. I don't want to cook. But so I go to McDonald's, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's so unhealthy for you, but you know what, I've eaten at McDonald's for years, and I've never had a problem with it. Sorry, I'm fidgety. I'm standing in an awkward position, because my two weight bench things are right here. Like, I'll sit on my knees, like this. Yeah. Right in front of my pictures of people that I've met. And my doll collection of stuff. But I don't think you can see that. Maybe you can. I don't know. Anyway. Back to the topic at hand. So I was going through videos of shows that I used to watch as a kid, and the way the McDonald's story fits into it is they have the McDonald's Kids Play Place on the side. Excuse me. And like they'll close off the rest of the lobby because the way the McDonald's we go to is... Oh, excuse me. That snuck up on me. I apologize. They have the front area, and then there's the main lobby part, and then you can go around to the other side where they can't see it from the counter. So they close that area off at nighttime, because it is a 24-hour McDonald's, and they just have the main area open. So we'll be there, and they have two TVs on. Usually one has CNN or some stupid sports thing on it, because y'all know what my belief in sports is, or lack thereof. Weight training is different. Dancing is different. Tennis, volleyball, that kind of stuff is fine. Everything else? Yeah, no. That's a whole other video. But anyway, so they have kids shows on the one closest to the little kids place, play place thing there. And they honestly play it. Even though the kids play place is closed after a certain time, they still have the kids shows on, which is fine, whatever. But some of the kids shows that are on today are creepier than shit. Tupi and Binu? The fuck is that supposed to be? I was sitting there watching an episode, and there's this mouse thing with like a really, 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 really low voice. And I'm like, yeah, that's teaching kids something. And then you see other things, like in the night garden. Again, what the fuck were people smoking when they came up with shit like that? Sorry for the swearing, but really. And then there's like, well, Teletubbies is off the air now, but they're supposed to be bringing it back in a new way, which is even creepier. Creepier. What happened to the good old days? Oh god, I sound so old. But like, I don't know if... It's hard for me to say because not a lot of people in BC even grew up with today's special, which seemed to be primarily Ontario and Alberta, and on stations like Access Network, which I don't think they have here. Maybe they do have, I don't know. Mostly Access Network is what I remember watching it growing up in Calgary, in Alberta, and I loved that show. I mean, maybe to some people nowadays, or even the generation before mine, they would have thought it odd to have a show about a mannequin that comes to life at night in a store, and a lady that does displays, and a mouse that lives in the store and talks in rhyme and has an elevator in her house, and Sam the night watchman, who is a puppet, and Mrs. Pennypacker, who works in the stockroom, and so on, and TXL, the Series 4 computer, which was really ahead of her time, because she could talk and all this other stuff, and nowadays you look at all that, and granted there's a lot of antiquated stuff in there, but the basic teachings are still there. And Treehouse resurrected it for a while there, and we're showing reruns, and I don't know if they still do or not, because I don't have TV. But that was such a good show, and I was watching an episode tonight. I was watching the Magic Spell one, where a magic spell goes, it's called the Runaway Spell, and a magic spell gets released from the computer's thing, because Waldo the Magician, who brought the mannequin to life originally, programmed spells into a computer. I know, don't ask. But the spell went around and started turning them into, all the people in the store, into different characters from storybooks. And it's a neat way to teach kids about nursery rhymes and storybooks and stuff like that. And it was a great episode. And they would tackle not just kid-friendly things, but they'd actually go into things like alcoholism and divorce and illnesses and death and things like that too. Subjects that a lot of kids shows these days won't even venture towards, because it's such tricky things to deal with kids, but that's what they need. Look at the generation of kids that are coming out there nowadays. Not all of them, mind you, but back in the day, we had, what did we have in school? We had graphing calculators. That was the big thing when I was going to school. Now everybody's got cell phones and tablets and everything else like that, and they're wondering why nobody's paying attention in school. At least with shows like today's special, it would teach people values and stuff. And Shining Time Station's another one I used to love as a kid. That's where the Thomas the Tank Engine stories basically started, because it was a segment from there where Mr. Conductor, played by Ringo Starr or George Carlin, who is famous for absolutely despising children, but he was Mr. Conductor, would tell these stories about Thomas and his friends. And now look at how big that one is. And that show's still around, and they've definitely taken it a step further. They actually talk themselves now. They do things at certain places around, at least North America anyway, where they'll like Heritage Park, for example. I talked about that in Calgary the other day. But they have Thomas the Tank Engine attached to the front of the steam engine that they have there, and goes around, and the eyes move and it talks, and which some ways would probably scare some kids in real life, but maybe not when you're used to seeing it on television, right? Kids emulate what they see on TV, which is another point. Anyway, what else? Dumbo's Circus. Do any of you remember watching Dumbo's Circus on Family Channel? That was a live-action version of the story of Dumbo the Flying Elephant. And they actually had these puppeted characters, people dressed up as them, obviously. There was Dumbo, there was Lionel, the ringmaster was Fair Dinkum, but they called him Dink. He was a koala bear, spoke with an Australian accent. Lily, she was the tightrope walker. Barnaby the dog, who was like the clown and magician. Sebastian the lazy cat, who did pretty much fuck all except complain, and QT, the orangutan that played the Calliope. These are shows like most people probably wouldn't even think about them, give them even another thought, except maybe for watching his video or something. But there's that. Following along the same lines, the old Winnie the Pooh live-action series. Now, that one was a bit creepy to some people, I think, but at the same time, it was. I mean, growing up back in the day, a lot of things looked creepy. They weren't quite exactly how they were supposed to translate from cartoon or whatever onto live action, but people did their best, and the values were still there. The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, the cartoon, I loved that one. Gotta get up, gotta get going, gonna see a friend of mine. He's round and he's fuzzy and da-da-da-da. He's just Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh Bear. Where did you go? Or no, sorry, wherever you go. Oh, won't you take me please, Pooh Bear? I know he's out there. Rumbly-tumbly, climbing a honey tree. Fun never ends for us. We're so adventurous. See at least every now and again. Anyway, totally, I don't know. I remember all these things, and sometimes it's like useless information compared to stuff that I should know as an adult, and like mortgages and bank shit and things I just don't really know or care enough about, but I really should. But these other things have stayed with me even into my 30s now, and that's another thing. Who's going to remember a lot of the shows out there that are playing now, like, or maybe they will, and whatever values or whatever they're teaching, that's going to be what they grow up with. So I'd love to see remakes of some of these things done similarly, not in the shitty today standard of shows, but like the proper family values and things going out there. And here's me talking about family values and swearing right, left, and center, but you know, it's so weird, and I never thought I'd be one of those people, but it's so true. The ones, as you get older, oh, kids these days, you know, what are they doing? I can't believe that they're screwing around. You gotta stop screwing around. Yeah. What other shows, what can I think of? Cartoons and stuff. I've mentioned Mighty Max many times. Captain Planet and the Planeteers. They got My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, which I guess kind of works. I've seen a couple of episodes of it, and I'm not a brony, contrary to what people think, because I mean, I do have the parody song of it. But, you know, there are some things out there that have good values, but other ones are just creepy. That's all they are. Creepy. And I watch ghost movies and shows and stuff before bed, and I find children's shows creepier than that. So, there's a problem there. Anyway, yeah, I guess it's just me talking my nostalgic talk and enjoying my childhood coming back, even though it's not. But that's what YouTube's good for, because you can find all that stuff on there. But there's some shows that I can't find that were mostly Canadian, I'm sure. Rory and the Piglets. There was one called BB and Jennifer that used to play on CBC. I cannot find any mention of it on the internet, pretty much. It was about an alien that lived with a lady. BB was the name of the alien. Good luck trying to find that. The other day I was watching Mr. Rogers' Neighbourhood and getting into some folklore and story stuff behind there. But that gentleman, Fred Rogers, was a real gentleman. And he honestly cared about children and what television had to offer for them. And the Land of Make-Believe will always live on with him and his legacy. And Mr. Dressup and The Friendly Giant, those ones you can find on YouTube. But, like BB and Jennifer, and more of the obscure ones, you can still find under the umbrella tree, and to some extent Book Mice and other shows that I honestly think only aired in Canada. I could be wrong, maybe they didn't. Maybe they're also in the States or in Europe. I don't know, but if anybody ever found clips of those and put those on YouTube, please let me know. That would be great. I'd appreciate that. But look them up, honestly. Some of these shows, Dumbo Circus, Today's Special, Shining Time Station, things like that. Sesame Street is still going. It's one of the few that's still left with wholesome things. And even that is, I don't know. They are changing with the times, which I applaud them for, because, you know, you got it a little bit. But the same values are pretty much still there, I guess. Even though it's becoming a big brand now. But that's what you got to do to survive, I suppose. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me for today. Don't forget to check out my radio show if you're getting to see this video before 2 o'clock Sunday, Pacific time. Don't forget to change your clocks. Hopefully you've done so already. Change them back an hour because it's fall back an hour. So 2 to 4 p.m. Pacific time, Animé-d in Japan, Insanity on the radio. Sundays from 2 to 4, 92.5 FM in Kamloops. www.thex.ca if you want to tune in online. And it's Japanese music at its best. At least that's my slogan for it. And also another one that I have for it, world music focusing entirely on Japan. Even though I play Korean, Chinese, and English as well. Why not? And German, to some degree, because I love the Super Moonies, which was a Sailor Moon band in Germany that did Sailor Moon music. Yeah, I love the Sailor Moon German theme song. Oh, it was great. Anyway, have a great night, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. Which is Monday, Jamatane, and we'll see you then. Bye-bye.